Let's see when it kicks in. We should be going live here any second. Let me just check the stream. Yep. All right, bro. I think we are ready to go. Just double check one last thing.
I just pulled up the list too.
Yep, we are good to go.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Welcome to that Synth Fighter, or not that Synth Fighter, the Synth Fighter, or maybe just the Synth Fighter, or maybe just Synth Fighter, actually. All right, who do we got? We got Unfaithful Journeys here. Cool, man.
Hey.
We got David Cameron. We got David Poole. We got Space Capsule. We got EQ. All right, we got a few people in here already. All right,
nice.
Let's just get it checked. Is the audio good? Video good? Everything good?
Test.
Go Echo. Everyone's cheering you on, man.
All right. Hey. Hi, everybody.
Your volume's good on my end.
Cool.
I got some tunes playing here, so we might do something. We might try an experiment tonight. We'll see. I don't know. If it's just running smooth, we'll just go with the flow, but... Oh yeah, we got the shades. These are the ECHOKRAFT edition we got here, right? Echo's got El Reptilia green, baby. You know, just like the iguana.
Matches the aesthetic.
What a week, man! Or 2 weeks, once again.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to get these shades up on the website. We'll see.
These are really cool,
aren't they? I find them good too, man.
And I like the little vents that they have here, so they don't fog up.
Yeah,
on
they
you.
don't. They got the little rubber, man. Pretty decent, I think. All right,
yeah,
so we had a big week. We had a huge, or 2 weeks actually. I thought there wasn't going to be anything to talk about again, but you know, it always seems like when the 2 weeks start rolling through, right at the end of the last bit of time, stuff starts coming out, man. So it was crazy.
Well, the cool thing too is like doing it I think if we did it every week, it would be tough.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Because
I think every 2 weeks is great because that's the news keeps coming in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we got a lane, you know, we don't really venture too far in the software lane, but we'll touch it every once in a while, and we kind of got, you know, a lane we're sticking to, which is cool. And Sonic State did a show yesterday. Man, I thought it was pretty good yesterday, to be honest. You catch it?
I didn't catch it, man.
I thought it was good. It was decent.
I was doing a new video.
Oh, baby, yeah. Speaking of new videos, so let's check it out. So we got Echo here. I guess we might as well just start right off the bat with the gas radar, man. The gas radar went off the charts for you this week, I think. Didn't it? Tell everyone what's going on.
So my plan was the last time we talked, and I believe it was on your show too. I mentioned the Oberheim TE-05. And I was real keen on that. I was like, okay, this looks really nice. It's analog. They're calling it the 80s synthwave synth. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. But then I got to thinking, and I started watching videos, and I know how much you love yours.
Yes, indeed.
So I went and I purchased this.
Looky, the black cookie. Hey, man, I'll tell you what. So man, look at the lights on that thing. I gotta say, like, you tell me about it in a minute, but just from my perspective right off the bat, I'll say it. The Hydrasynth is, I think it's the best value for money synthesizer out there right now. In my opinion, you tell me what your first thoughts are so far.
It's super interesting. I will say this. The layout is awesome because it's all right there. And like, I was just playing around with it and I said, oh, I want to change this. So I would just click on, you know, so I love the mutant thing where you could just go in and change the mutant, messing with the waveform. But I don't think it's for the first kind of like
first timers.
Even though the layout is there, and I think that's wonderful. Again, if I was going to suggest a synthesizer to a first timer, it would probably be like the Korg mini log.
Yeah. Or the Mini Freak.
Or the Mini Freak, you know, because it is all right there.
Yeah.
But I will say, What I like about the Hydrasynth is it's definitely a synthesizer to design sounds with.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I haven't done an initialized patch yet. I just started messing around with the patches themselves and going in and tweaking things and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. It gets strange too, man. It gets really, you get some really strange sounds out of it.
It can go anywhere.
Yeah. I did notice the digital harshness of it.
It's got
However,
yeah.
You told me to check out the analog. You sent me something that was about analog patches.
Preset pack that guy made. Yeah.
Yeah. So I explored. I mean, there's a lot of sounds in that thing. So I explored it. And I like the fact that mine came already upgraded to 2.0.
Sweet.
I know 2.0 was a game changer for the Hydrasynth. So I dug a little deep and I found some string pads that just sounded so warm, and it reminded me of analog. It reminded me actually of, I used the DeepMind 12 for pads, and I used the Rev 2 for pads. And I put it right up there with them as far as being a digital synthesizer and having that analog feel and sound. I will tell you, after playing the Osmos, as far as aftertouch goes, that the Hydrasynth does it well.
Yeah.
But nothing could touch the Osmos, dude.
Yeah, nothing can touch the Osmos, I think, man. That's just next level aftertouch, and
it is. It really is.
Now, how do you think, well, that's another topic, but anyways, just for the Hydrasynth, someone said, how would you describe a mutant?
So the way I understand it, I mean, watching some videos, I haven't even cracked the manual open. I was so excited to get it and just play with it. I will tell you, and I talked to you before about this, I was going to get the Explorer, but the Explorer didn't have the pitch strip.
Yeah.
And you were just like, it's not a big deal. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I thought about it some more. I'm like, I started messing with that thing, man. It's cool.
It's fun. Well, especially where you kind of do a lot of live jamming. It's fun for that. It's really fun. It's like the Morphe pad on the Polybrute.
Yeah.
It's just another way to modulate some sound,
Absolutely. And that's kind of why I liked it. Cause I was like, especially if you're using it for sound effects, can do some really cool stuff with it. So Mutant, I'm going to say the way it was described, I watched a ton of videos, and I liked, what's his name from Sweetwater, Daniel Fisher. Yeah.
The man.
So Daniel Fisher was messing with mutants and stuff. And what was cool is he basically said what it does is when you click on mutant, it allows you to go in, and there's over how many wave?
Oh my God.
260 something waves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it actually goes in and mutates the wave. And then you get to turn the knob on finding out exactly where you want that mutate to be.
In any
So now you're talking an unlimited amount of waves, because now you're creating your own. And that's what I found fascinating about the Hydra. You're creating your own waves.
Easily too.
Yeah. And there's software out there that you can use to create wavetable synthesis. And I've tried it. It's a little difficult. Software to me it's cool, but like when you have hands on and you have knobs and you can dig deep, and just tweaking that knob. I'm not even talking like, well, to the indicator lights that are on it. Like you don't even have to like turn that thing a little, you just touch it.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. Like the stuff that I was getting out of it. So it's definitely, for me, it's going to be an experimental synthesizer like the Mini Freak, where I'm going to go in and I'm going to do weird stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll see what happens this Sunday on the Kumite.
Ooh, if you can get the Kumite. And then plus when you get used to the macros, you can start really having fun, just not going deep. Because this thing can go deep as the Mariana Trench, but you can also you can stay in the kiddie pool too if you want, which is a pretty cool thing about it, right?
Yeah.
So, but you're right. I don't think it's a beginner synth, but I think if you got an understanding of synths, this here, you can have a lot of fun with it. But I mean, dude, like, listen, what, like, how much was that? $1,300 or something?
Yeah, and I had a few $100s in
Credits or whatever.
yeah, the what do they call it? Gear exchange credits, because I sold some gear.
Yeah.
And I'm selling some more gear.
Oh, well, you're gonna get the TE-05 still?
Oh, no. I got no room.
Dude,
my room is tapped now. My wife, she came in and because you have to see the way this is mounted, dude. It's like up in the air and it's facing down. So she came in the room. She said, "Oh, so that's what you were waiting for."
Yeah.
And there's no more room in here. I mean, I could put a keyboard stand here, but I can't do that. I like to have, when we moved, it was nice to have a big spacious room to, put stuff in.
Now the walls are closing in.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I need some more space too. I got a couple things I want to get to, but to be honest, I don't have the visual area to put them right now. I'm like, I don't know where I would put that. I don't want to start building up the walls and crawl across the ceiling,
Right. And well, the original plan was to get the desktop module.
Yeah.
Of the Hydra, and they didn't have it. So then I said, all right, well, I'll get the small one. It's kind of the same size as the Mini Freak.
Yeah.
Has mini keys. And I'm like, they didn't have it. So I call up my Sweetwater rep and I'm like, hey, Greg, what do you think of this? And he's like, well, dude, I kind of like keyboards and I play keyboards, so I'm going to go with the keyboard, right?
I mean, it's always nice to not have to have it midied in. It's always nice to have it be able to be controlled on its own. So I think you made a good choice. And the 49 key is a perfect size. I even talked to you. I was thinking about maybe downgrading the Hydra Deluxe to the Silver Beast, the Chroma console, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm the kind of guy, you know me, bro. I'm the kind of guy who I can't get rid of anything, as you can see by the haunting going on with the MPC these days.
That MPC, dude, is an evil thing.
It still won't leave me alone, man. It's crazy. And
every time you post one of those videos, I die. I show everybody in work too. I'm like, you got to see this video.
Oh, the haunting, man. Some dude wrote me and he was like, I picked one up and he just posted a picture of it having like a seance with it. I don't know if you saw that. He was like, it's already started. I was like, all right, be careful, awesome, man. Be careful. So that's kind of cool.
No, I think you should keep the Deluxe because, what I saw, I did watch some videos about the Deluxe. There's definitely no way I would be able to put that thing in here. I just like the fact of having it be 16 voices. And I heard some of the really interesting things that you could do, especially with arpeggiations. I thought that was really cool. So, the nice thing about it is you didn't really have a master keyboard
either.
So,
yeah. So it's cool.
So yeah. You know what I mean?
The arpeggiator on this thing, if you get to play around with, it's nuts too. It's really awesome arpeggiator on the Hydrasynth.
That's what blows my mind.
It's crazy.
It's a lot. It reminds me a lot of the Mini Freak.
Yeah, it's got that Mini Freaky feel,
But I think it goes deeper than that.
It goes deep, bro. Sometimes I'll start messing around with it, and I'll be like, I got to back away because I feel like if I go deep now, I need to spend another couple hours in here. You know when you go to a level and you're like,
oh yeah,
you open a door and you're like, ooh, it's dark down there. I'm just gonna wait to go down there a little later on.
Well, because it sucks all the time.
Oh, God.
And then the next
there's
day,
not enough time, bro.
You're not writing anything.
No.
You're just sitting there messing with stuff.
Yeah. And you can mess for days,
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm very pleased and I appreciate you again suggesting.
That's two, bro.
Yeah, that's two, man.
I know. I got to get the Osmos now. I've been looking at the Osmos. If something happens, I'm going to get the Osmos. We'll see what happens with that.
It's definitely, that's top on my tier for controllers and just being able to connect it to any MPE synth. I use Pigments with it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool, man. All right, so listen, man, we got a lineup for tonight. That's a little bit of the Hydro.
What have you been doing?
Me, man, I've just been flat out battling with old Weaver Beats, to be honest with you. I got up, man, like 4 or 5 people. Hold on now. So anyways, tonight we're going to do the show. We got Behringer's the big topic tonight because I think, man, they've got some real hot news coming out. We talk a little bit about Weaver Beats and talk a little bit about some more stuff. But that's basically what we're doing tonight, man, just getting together with the chat, having a good time and talking. So what I've been up to, I guess we'll start with the Weaver Beat thing. I woke up the other morning and I got a bunch of people sent me this Weaver Beats thing, and I didn't know it was Weaver Beats. I just saw the big old clickbait thumbnail, which, you know, my deal with clickbait. I like clickbait, to be honest.
Well, I was one of the ones that sent it to you too.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
sent it to me.
You got to listen to this shit.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you said. I think I was in bed. I opened my eyes and I was like, what the? And I clicked it. And then I was like, this mother. So anyway, I don't know why I get so aggravated. I guess I'll kind of try to explain why I get aggravated. Yeah, so Beaver.
I think we all do.
Yeah, Beaver Wheats. So
Beaver Wheats.
That's what Hayes Anderson said in the comments. Yeah, so that's hilarious. Beautiful. So Beaver Wheats was like, got the video, and I was like, you know what? I was going to do oscillators and percolators in the morning, and I told the missus, I was like, she was heading off. I was like, I'm going to do oscillators and percolators episode now, and I don't really know what I want to talk about. And I was like, I guess I'll just like give my opinion on this Beaver Wheats guy. Because I've actually seen his channel a bunch of times. I've said it to you before, I think, that I like what he's doing because I like the little niche he's carved out for himself, like reacting to other people's. I feel like there's a little bit of crossover in what I'm doing, kind of, right? So I appreciate his content. I think he puts a lot of work into it. And
I think you're a little bit more of a gentleman.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a, I would say he's
kind of rude.
He's kind of rude, and he goes after people, and he like does reaction content. But whatever, it is what it is. And I think it's cool, and he's done a good job with it, and he's built a huge following, and he's got and he puts some effort into his videos. But when I saw this trash was the exact same garbage as when Jorb put his thing out, and I did a video to Jorb as well. Respectfully, I'm not like disrespecting Beaver.
Right.
Or Jorb. I'm just kind of like talking about the content more than anything, not like an ad hominem attack on the guy. So I hear this Behringer baloney always from these cats that it seems like they do it every once in a while because they know they got a big enough subscriber base that if you talk about anything with Behringer, the Behringer army's so huge that you're going to create a bunch of interaction. And obviously, if you hate on Behringer, you're probably going to create a little more interaction and controversy than if you don't hate on him. So I don't know if he really hates on him or not, because I would figure a guy like that, like I said in the video, I figure a guy like that would be into a company like Behringer, you know?
Well, I mean, one of the things that he said, you know, he was talking about how things, you know, Behringer DJ stuff that he bought or whatever would break down and things like that. And I'm like, all gear breaks down, man. It's a machine.
The breakdown argument with Behringer is long gone. You know, a bunch of these ships have left the port a long time ago. And that was another thing. I was like, Weaver, dude, you're about like 2-3 years late making this video, cat.
Yeah, with the what's the dude's name?
Who? Peter Kern, Corn Pop Kern? Yeah, Corn Pop Kern.
Dude, that's old school.
That's like old school news. That's like back, I think. And then you bring up so he's rehashing up all these old arguments that everyone was going at Behringer for that made the Synth Mafia disown Behringer, right?
Right.
So this whole thing, I think when the Synth Mafia really disowned Behringer was when the Corn Pop put out his baloney, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into Corn Pop too much because the guy's a savage, so I don't want him, you know, but if anyone wants to go figure it out, I told you how to go figure it out. Go look into the guy. He's a knob. That's all I got to say. That's my opinion. I think he's a knob.
And I'll just say this one thing. The thing that you sent me about what he did to that synth player.
It's horrible.
Especially at a time, well, before this whole, you know, female agenda thing happened in the music industry, you know, he was awful. It was awful what he did.
Yeah, like behind the scenes. So,
like the Samurai said, go check that out. Look at the article. He's rude. He's a nasty human being. And frankly, what does he know about synthesizers?
So I guess he's some writer back in the day that everyone loved, right? So he's a part of the electronic mafia, right? You got the synth mafia, you got the electronic music mafia, and then you got the actual music industry mafia, right? So he's like level 2.
Is he from like Great Britain or something? Or is he
I don't know, man. He's over there in Europe somewhere, probably.
Oh, okay.
So put him aside. Just the argument with him right off the bat annoyed me because I was like, obviously, brother, you haven't even went and looked into any of this stuff. You're just kind of like picking crap out of the synth mafia's blanket statement they did back in the day. And then they go after
Sonic State they dropped a whole bomb about that on one of their episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it was Ty Irwin who he was just disgusted and he hates Behringer and he'll never own a piece of Behringer gear. And you know, I mean, I would totally respect Ty. Ty's an amazing musician.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I love when he's on Sonic State because he's wicked funny.
Mm-hmm.
But that was what, 3-4 years ago?
In the past,
4 years
man.
ago.
In the past.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm like, all right, this cat's just doing like a click fisher, you know? He's going for a click fisher, and he's using the Behringer hate for the, so then I was like, I don't even think he's being honest about this, right? I think this is a total, you know, he's got nothing on the go, so he's rehashing this old stuff. Then he goes into the old Oberheim name stealing whole thing about that there.
You blew my mind on that one.
Right? So, I mean, you got...
That was cool.
The basics of the story, because I went and looked into it, because in all fairness, some dude... Some troll came in because the Weaver army invaded Synth Nation or Samurai Nation for a little bit. So I got fired up, and I was like, well, I'm already fired up, so let's have a chat with these cats. And one guy made a fair point. He was like, you know, he didn't really tell me why this Oberheim thing didn't really... you didn't really talk about the Oberheim thing. That's what I was waiting for. Blah, blah, blah. Right. You just kind of ran your mouth. And I did run my mouth. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, he was waiting for you to post the video about Tom Oberheim saying that he never helped Behringer create the UBXA.
Exactly. So we went and looked into that. The whole deal was, the basics of it is, if the chat got any other things thrown out there, the chat was, or the basic genesis was, Oberheim went bankrupt back in the day. Gibson bought Oberheim. Used the Oberheim name to put out a bunch of products. Old Tommy Boy blew back on the scene. And the boys said, all right, we'll give you back the Oberheim name. I guess give. We don't know the details behind the scene, right? But he got his name back in the U.S. only because Behringer, just like Gibson, how is this different than Gibson? Okay? How is it different that Behringer said, Behringer's a European company? How is it different that Behringer goes, all right, we're going to get the rights to the Oberheim name in Europe and wherever else over there, and Gibson had it in the U.S. Fair enough. So then Gibson gives it back, and suddenly now Behringer's a bad guy because they still got the name. Right? And they were also working on things behind the scenes. Apparently, this is all speculation, but it seems to be adding up, that they were working with old Tommy Boy, right? On the UBXA, because Tommy Boy couldn't use his own name at that point. So maybe he was like, you know, maybe I'll get back, and if they're trying to recreate something old, I'm into it, blah, blah, blah. They signed an agreement that Behringer honored, but I guess when Tom came out and broke the agreement, because... maybe old Tommy Boy's like, I don't want to be associated with a Behringer. I'm a part of the synth mafia. You know, I'm one of the capos. We got Bobby Moog. We got Tommy Obe. You know, you got fill in the blanks with the rest of them. You know, Chris Hogan. You got all the synth. They're the synth capos of these companies back in the day.
Yeah, they're the legacy synth guys. They're the guys who started all this stuff.
Let's not get it twisted. They were all copying each other back in the day. Does everyone forget about that? And you made a great point today as well. You're like, when someone was like, Behringers always break down. I'm like, man, I don't think they always break down. And you were like, dude, back in the day, you had to have a tech.
They had, so I remember I was talking to somebody, I went to see Emerson, Lake and Palmer when I was a kid. And I told my story about that at a past video that we did. But I remember talking, they had a tech, a Moog tech right there. Yeah. Like that toured with them because he had that giant, what was it? The System 50. Is that what he used? I forget. Mm-hmm. And that thing was always breaking down. So they had a guy right there to like rewire stuff because that thing was always going out of tune too, because they didn't have the digital technology back then to keep things in tune.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, I had a guy trash on me today when on my expensive synth video that I did. And I respected his opinion. I really did. He didn't call me out, didn't call me any names, but he went on about how, you know, well, the economy is this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, in today's economy, that synthesizer would have been $5,000. And I'm like sitting there going, but that's not how it works, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Moog synthesizer before Bob Moog, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember this, Bob Moog lost the name Moog. There was another company that bought Bob Moog's name, and Bob Moog stepped down and he wasn't designing anything anymore.
Yeah.
He got his name back. Same thing happened to Dave Smith. Sequential. I was at NAMM when Dave Smith got the sequential name back from Yamaha.
Mm-hmm.
I was there when it happened.
Yeah.
That was big news. And that's the day I met him, Dave Smith. So it was really cool,
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get old Echo Boy back. All right. That was crazy. Synth Mafia shut down the stream. Let's see. What the heck just happened there? You guys still there? All right, we're back.
Hello.
You still there, Echo?
Yeah, but you got some weird shit going on with your voice.
How about that?
That's better?
All right, let me just get this set up. Damn, bro, hold on, man. We get all fired up and Synth Mafia shuts down the stream.
Wow, what's going on?
I don't know, man. We just had there was thunder and lightning here earlier, so I'm wondering if
that sounds better.
Yeah, you're looking good there. Let me just make sure I got everything set up properly. We get this geared back up real quick. See, is the chat still going?
I put out on the chat that we lost power.
All right, hopefully we got it back here now. All right, you're back there, good to go. Let me just make sure everything's good on this end over here. Got stream's going. Everything looks good. Stream health, boom. Let's just see. All right, but the chat just disappeared.
Yeah, that was weird.
Very weird, man. Hold on now. Yeah, that was weird. All right. So let me see what's happening there with this. Everything just went totally wacko, man. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
What the heck just happened?
Synth Mafia, dude. They're watching us.
Can you believe it? I mean, if there's any time to shut down the stream, it's when you're going head over heels for the Synth Mafia. You still in the chat there? Pull it up, see if it's still going, because it's dead on my end.
Oh, let me see. Because all right, hang on. Let me try something. Because what I don't want to do is create some feedback here. Hold on.
Yeah. Just getting these technical difficulties worked out, man. Yeah, huge power surge, man. So they must have had that, they must have got a hold of one of those Synth Mafia satellites up there and
all right, hang on.
Shut down the stream.
I'm actually listening to us back because we're live.
You got it going? Still going? So you can still hear it?
Yes, chat is still going.
All right. The missus just informed me the chat is still up and running, so that's all right. The only problem is, all right, let's just go. Maybe, let's see. You good on your end?
Can you hear that?
I can hear you. Spooky, spooky, man.
It looks like yeah, it looks like everybody's still talking.
Everyone's still going? It's all good? All right, so if everything's still going in the chat, I just can't pop it out on my end. It's kind of disappeared, so that we'll just have to go with what we got going on there. All right, yeah, man, so just get back into it for a quick sec before we, I'll figure that all out later, man. We'll just operate on the fly. So, yeah, where were we, man? Old Beaver Wheats.
So I was talking about the bullshit that goes on with like Moog, having to have their name. Bob Moog got his name back.
Yeah.
I was there at NAMM when Dave Smith got sequential back from Yamaha. So they've all gone through it. And the reason is you said it. You said Tom Oberheim, they went bankrupt. And the reason for that is because if they're only selling to professionals like that troll jumped on me about. He wasn't a troll. He actually made a lot of sense, but the bigger picture is this: if you're not making stuff for the masses, and you're just making stuff for professional musicians, you're probably going to go bankrupt.
It's hard.
There's not a whole lot of professional musicians out there. And I don't mean that, in a disrespectful way. What I mean by that is, there's so I know a lot of people in the music industry. I remember, Synth Punk talking about, people that he knew in the music industry. It's a very small group of people, big name people. That's what I'm talking about. Professional musicians aside, those are people that are playing out all the time and making money and making a living. Fine. But they're still not going to go out and spend $63,000 on a synthesizer.
I know, right? Bookless.
Lost the samurai again.
Oh, we're back, man. There's some weird things happening tonight, dude. I'll tell you what, man. This is
creepy.
Maybe we should. How about let's try this? Let's lay off.
Let's change the subject.
Let's lay off the synth mafia. That seems a little bit cursed there, but just to put a bookend on old Weaver. I like Weaver. I think it's cool. I would love to have him on the Synth Fighter. Come on here with me and you and just shoot the jive for a little bit and talk about it. Because I just feel like if he's legit about his comments in regards to Behringer, then he needs to give his head a bit of a shake. And if he's making it up just to have a laugh, then that's cool too. Go for it. It's all good because this show is a bit of a he's a bit of a wild man,
Oh, he is.
So it is what it is. But that's neither here nor there. Someone was like, in the chat, they said Oberheim wasn't working with Behringer. I don't know if Tom was working with Behringer or not. I don't know that, but it seems that some pioneer that created some type of Oberheim synthesizer was working with Behringer. I don't know. And it doesn't mean he was working with them to develop it. They just had an agreement that old Tommy Boy didn't mind if the boys went and made a tribute to an old synthesizer, I'm guessing, right?
Well, I mean, when he made that statement, he didn't say that, they couldn't use his name. I mean, he didn't say anything bad about the UBXA.
Exactly.
He just said, I didn't take part in helping develop that. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I don't think there is a big deal to it. That's the whole idea. And then anyways, here's a pro tip for all you new synthesizer company makers. Don't use your last name for your company. All right. Pro tip. Don't use your last name. And then you don't have to worry about this baloney. Because guess what? Is it kind of shady that Behringer's like, we're going to yoink the Oberheim name? So did Gibson. So is Gibson shady too? Then they're both shady. Then everybody's shady. Whatever.
But Samurai, the other thing is, and we've discussed this before, and that was another thing that was brought up when you were talking about Beaver Wheats. I love that. Look at the software manufacturers. I mean, look at G4 software. I love G4 stuff. They make great stuff. Yeah. That's the David Spears, David Spears. Yeah. That's his company. But look, he just came out with the Oscar.
Which is awesome.
And what does it say on it? The Oscar.
Exactly.
I mean, granted, that company is dead in the water, right? He came out with the Oberheim DMX. They're selling it for $30. So I'm like sitting there going, okay, but it's okay for software synth companies to come out with those names, but a hardware company can't do that.
That's what I don't understand. And maybe I just don't understand it. I
know, maybe we're just stupid.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a total like complete, absolute knuckle dragger, and I just don't get it. But
look at going back to guitars. Look at all of the companies. How many companies out there made a Stratocaster?
Exactly.
Right? But they don't call it the Stratocaster. They call it the RG75, or they call it, right? I mean, how many people come out? I got a Jazzmaster. I have two of them on the wall from Fender, right? There's so many companies that came out with the Jazzmaster shaped body. That's cloning.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it so?
And I don't think it's cloning, man. I said this the other day. It's resurrecting because they're not exact copies of it, you know, like.
But isn't that the
Whatever.
highest form of
Flattery?
Flattery?
Now,
You know?
okay, is it shady? Is it a little shady when you're like, they have a synthesizer? Okay, like the Behringer swing and Arturia key step. Is that getting into a little bit of shady territory? I don't know, right? I don't know. I just think that maybe it's like, this is a pretty simple thing and we like the idea, so why don't we do a similar thing?
So I'll give you another example. So Behringer had come out. So Mackie instruments, Mackie boards, right? Mackie mixing consoles, right? Mackie came out with the console with sealed pots so that it wasn't any scratchy sounds or anything like that. And they were the first real company to do that besides the big name companies like Neve and all those guys, right? Behringer came out with a board that looked just like the Mackie, only it was silver. The Mackie board was gray, was dark gray.
Yep.
Immediately, everybody's like, oh, they're copying Mackie. Well, I'm sorry, but like, and they were selling it for way less than what Mackie was selling it for. So I bought one. I had a Mackie board too. Great board. But I bought one and I couldn't tell the difference. And people are going to be like, oh, come on, dude. Seriously, I couldn't tell the difference. The specs, if you looked at the specs,
yeah,
the floor to noise ratio and all that stuff was equal. So why are they the only company? They didn't patent that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't patent that. So it's there. It was there for anybody. Anybody can make a synthesizer. If Samurai and ECHOKRAFT got together and made a synthesizer and we based it upon a Hydrasynth and a matrix brute, is somebody gonna, oh, you can't do that?
Yeah, we called it the Hydra brute.
Right.
You know? Like, I guess the argument for Behringer is, yeah, okay, you're not using the most creativity, but I feel like their creativity is in the other aspects of their business. That's just my opinion. Like, look at how good these products they just put out. The Neve clone, the 369, and then the new preamp one they put out. I can't remember the number on that. They put those two out, and now I've been watching tons. I don't usually watch videos on this stuff, but I've been going and checking out tons of like audiophile dudes' reviews on it, and they're all blown away.
Yeah.
The only negative is the knobs. They're like, the knobs are a little bit cheap here. And it's like, whatever. Well, okay, whatever.
But did you see the video where they showed you what's inside that? So they're using Midas pods and Midas, what do you call it? Capacitors, right? And I'm sitting there going, everybody in England and in Europe use Midas boards live. Midas, before they got hooked up with Behringer, was like the best company in the world for live boards. Okay. So they're using people have to understand Music Tribe is the umbrella for several huge companies. And
which is exciting too, though, you know?
It's very exciting. Now I'm going to mention this. Warm audio. If anybody knows anything about warm audio, right? Warm Audio did the exact same thing. They copied the Neve compressor. They copied, what's the other one? The UAD one, I forget the name of it, but they copied all of them, right? And people say the same thing. Oh, they don't feel the same. Well, of course they don't feel the same. That's not the same.
It's not the same thing.
You know? And I was psyched when I saw Behringer come out with outboard gear again, because I told you this in the chat we were having. I bought a Behringer digital delay. That was the quietest digital delay. I wish I kept it. It was all silver. This is when Behringer did all silver products. And it had the little Behringer ear on it. Yep. Not the new one. It looked like a human ear. It was
the
drawn.
old school, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. And even my friends that had expensive digital delays were like blown away by this thing. I paid $129 for it. You know, look at the compressor. I had to buy a compressor when I owned a SID station by Electron, because the thing needed a noise gate, a compressor, because it was so freaking noisy. I had this Behringer noise gate compressor that I had was amazing. I paid like $99 for that.
I'm glad they're getting back into this too, because
I mean, are they cloning stuff? I don't know, man. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. And I don't know what are you gonna say, oh, Elisa's cloned Simmons, and Simmons cloned, Roland, and Roland. Come on, man.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's the way it is these days. It's just to me, I'm more like this is the problem I have with this whole argument, is when everyone like it's an ethics thing, man. Don't you understand? It's an ethics thing. And I'm like, dude, what do you think you get? Who are you, Mother Teresa? You think you got the best ethics of anybody? What are you using there in your hand? You got an iPhone. You got all these products that are officially presumed to be involved in some unethical practices, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Apple, whether it's Google, whether it's YouTube.
Yep.
You got all, and then you go into like the clothes I got on. So are you seriously just going to like pretend that you're the savior of ethics when it comes to synthesizers now, because you're going to go after big bad Behringer because they called their Poly D a mini Moog clone? And I don't even know if they said that, but
no, they didn't.
It's annoying.
They just called it a Poly D.
It's annoying because guess what? If you're going to be Johnny Ethics, then be Johnny Ethics. Start a charity, get down to the soup kitchen, do your thing. And when you take care of all that, then go after Behringer.
Well, then, Weaver Beats said this too. He's like, well, then, they make throwaway products.
Yeah.
What?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does he mean?
I spent some money, and if it fucks up, pardon my language, and breaks down, I could just throw it away and buy another one. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's what are you doing to throw? If you're throwing it away, then you're crazy. But
yeah,
my stuff, I've got Behringer stuff. It hasn't broken yet. Maybe it'll break. But like you said before, my Korgs are made of complete plastic, and my Behringers are built way more heavy duty than my Korgs. Today, as it is right now, minus the Minilog XD, which is built tough. It's like metal and everything. But as far as the Op6, the Mod Wave, and the Wave State, dude, they're built like complete trash.
Yeah.
They're just pieces of plastic. And I love them. I'm not knocking it because maybe that's how they were able to get it cheap to me. But the Behringers are built more tank-like.
Behringers are built like Moog.
Yeah, it built like Moogs, baby. Just without the cherry oak.
And the thing is like I have a TD3MO, right?
Yeah.
And the funny part is, now it's a little bit bigger than the original TB303, but the TB303 was a piece of crap. It was plastic. It ran on batteries.
Yeah.
And when people say, "Oh, it's cheap, it's made cheap," I'm like, what do you think the Roland? I remember when I worked at Daddy's Junkie Music in New Hampshire, I had in front of me two of them. We sold them for like $90 because nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you want to talk about a clone, they actually cloned how crap it was made.
Yeah.
So saying it's like cheap and crap is hilarious because...
And actually the knobs on that thing feel better than the original TB303.
Hey.
So I mean,
the Wasp, and I know, man, we became huge Wasp fans. The Wasp is like the sound that you can get out of that is unreal.
It's that little rack that I have with the cat, the two wasps in it. It's just sometimes I'll just play with that by itself.
The chat says we look German. I don't know what do you think?
We are the brothers Stuntkopf.
Yeah, the brothers Stuntkopf. Yeah. Let's move on to something positive.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Right. Listen. So that's the Beaver Wheats drama. I'm just having a little bit of fun. I could give some troll was in the comments. I think his name is Danky Place. He got a picture of a troll. You probably come across him in your journeys in the comment sections of YouTube. He's
that guy.
Yeah, Danky Place. His picture's a troll. He's weird, but
he's into like Dungeons and Dragons card games.
I kind of ignore him, and every once in a while I give him a couple crackers in the troll farm, and then I take off.
He pops up under the bridge every once in a while.
Yeah, he pops up from under the bridge, has an episode, and then disappears again. But anyways, I was just like, I actually like Weaver Beats, and I could care less. He was like, you're going to go crazy when you see his 2-hour live stream about your episode. And I'm like, is it out yet? I'd love to see it, man. What are you talking about, go crazy? I think that's hilarious. If he did a live stream.
You're going to waste 2 hours on the Samurai? Like, come on, man.
Well, yeah, like, you know, we're just having a good time.
I mean,
I think that
not
goes
for
over
nothing.
Yeah.
That's great publicity for you, brother.
Well, I think it also goes over a lot of people's heads. Unless you watch the content, you don't really get that, you know, we're having a good time, you know?
Right.
We're just having a good time. We're having a laugh. I'm sitting in a backyard with an American flag cowboy hat on,
right,
and a synthwave t-shirt, just talking jive for fun before I go to work. What do you think I'm doing here? You know? Anyway, yeah. So anyways, let's get on to Behringer. The next topic we want to talk about is also Behringer, the Behringer Summer of Synths. And they just had a big release, which was the Behringer SY-1, the clone of the Pearl drum machine. The two,
which kills me.
I mean, kills you in what way?
Oh, so here's the thing. I remember when that thing came out, and it had like drums with it. Mm-hmm. I think you can buy them separately.
Yeah, ba-bam-bam.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Like I was always into that kind of stuff, and I hung out with friends that were purists, like, oh, you can't. Electronic drums aren't real drums. Well, no shit. They're electronic drums. You know? Yeah. It's, I think it's cool. Here's the sad part. I wish I had room for that because I totally would. That and the when they come out with the CR78 or whatever it's called. I would love to have both of those because the thing sounds great, dude.
Dude, you pair that up with the Barp too?
Oh, and I don't have the Barp anymore.
No, if
pair that up with the Edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would sound great. It's cool. So we got the SY-1 they just dropped. I did that video a little while back where I did the whole zoom in and out on the Behringer Facebook where they had the PPG wave coming.
Yep.
They had the VC S3, is it? The VC S3 clone, you know, that box looking thing. The old pin matrix clone, real beauty. The EMS, I think was the brand name of it back in the day. VC.
EMS, yeah.
Yeah, EMS VC03. VC3S,
it looks like Battleship.
Whatever. Yeah, and then they had
the pegs.
They had the JT-16.
Yep.
Which is the Prophet clone, right? Then they had the Neptune, which was the Juno clone.
The Juno clone, yeah.
Then they had the Poly 6.
Or Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Is it Jupiter? Is it a Jupiter clone?
Juno.
It's a Juno clone, okay.
Then they had the Poly 6.
Yeah.
Which I think that is awesome. I'm looking at the Mono Poly, which is arguably one of my most enjoyable favorite synthesizers because it's such a beast too. And man,
I'm laughing because that was another one before I thought about buying the Hydra.
To me, the Behringer Mono Poly at $499 or $599, but I think you can get it for $499. I got mine for $499 brand new. This is a no-brainer buy, man.
Killer synthesizer.
It sounds amazing. You can do such cool stuff with it. It's got the arpeggiator. It's got the and it's. I never played the original, so I don't really have that.
It's 4 voices, right?
4 voices, yeah. 4 voice paraphonic. Yeah. You can do cool pads with it and stuff too, especially when you run it into some reverb and delay pedals with some chorus.
All analog.
Nice. Come on, dude. You serious?
I know.
Talk to me about Behringer. God almighty. So anyways, then they had that. Then they got the Enigma, which is the Buchla easel clone, which absolutely fantastic. These come with patch storage, man.
People are gonna lose their shit when that comes out, dude. Because they lost their shit when Oberheim came out with the UBA XA.
Yep.
He comes out with this Buchla easel thing. People are gonna be like, "That's it."
Yep.
You know?
I know. That's it. I'm done.
I'm done.
You know, I'm done with Behringer now. It's like, dude, what do you think? Like, anyway, yeah.
I'm wondering how much that's going to be. That's probably like around $599.
Yeah. That one will be, they're coming out with the module. So no, it won't be. I don't think it will be.
It's just a module. So doesn't have the touch plates.
It's going to be $399, brother. Same as the Pro 800.
Yep.
Because they're basically using, in my opinion, the exact same guts if you think about the patch storage. I don't know what the screen, if they're going to have the Predator screen or it's going to be a little bit clearer because they might use the UBXA screen now, because they got two screens they can use, and they got the DeepMind screens they can use. So who knows what the screen's going to be, but the fact that you get patch storage on that thing is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, because the Buchla doesn't have that.
The Buchla doesn't have patch storage. As far as I know, maybe someone else knows, but as far as I know.
I've never played a Buchla. I've seen it like up close, but I've never played one. I know for a fact they're very, they're a really complete different synthesis. I mean, I'll give Buchla that. Buchla is definitely.
So how you say it? Buchla?
Buchla.
Buchla. Was it Italian or something?
No, I think Buchla is Hungarian.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Right. So we like that. We love Hungary.
Yeah,
I love
being
Hungary.
hungry.
Yeah, I love Hungary. So the other thing too is they got the Linn drum coming.
That's right.
They got the RD78, the CR78 clone coming.
Yep.
They got the DMX coming.
Man,
is the BMX, or what was it called under Oberheim? DMX?
It was BMX, wasn't
BMX, and they're doing the DMX, or either way, it's one or the other.
Let me look.
Yeah, look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
Look it up. It's one or the other. And that's what they got on the table. And they also got the new little UBXA Mini coming out. Did you see that thing?
DMX drum machine.
So that was the Oberheim one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Behringer's coming up with the BMX, obviously. That makes sense, right?
Plug-in Boutique is selling it G-Force version for $49.
$49?
Yeah. It's a software version. Okay. So you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here's an original Oberheim DMX 8-voice drum machine, 1981, $4,000.
$4,000, right? So if we look at what Behringer's putting out their drum machines for, you got the RD6 and the RD9, is it? Or RD8, sorry. RD8.
You could buy 7 different Behringer synthesizers for $4,000.
Dude, come on, man. You could buy for $4,000, I could go get a 2002 convertible white Ford Mustang, all right, for about $3,000. And then I could take my missus to a weekend away in the car and have a hotel for 3 nights with a swim pool.
There you go.
Right? Give me a break.
I just like I said, about the economics thing and all that. It's like, my thing is how can something, and maybe I suck at economics, maybe I'm stupid, but how can something be $4,500 back in 1984?
Yeah.
And then jump ahead to 2024,
mm-hmm.
and it's still $4,500.
I don't know. I don't know how any of this stuff works.
Where's the economics there?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the math of all this stuff. The only math I know is Behringer math. When you see a Behringer box on a pallet, it's 6 months till it gets in the store. That's Behringer math, right? And that seems to be, a couple of sleuths have went and figured it out, and that seems to be the math. When Behringer puts out the pallets with the boxes, 6 months later, it's in the stores.
Right.
So, what do you think about this, my man? What do you think about this?
What's that?
So anyways, we're excited about all those synthesizers. Everyone in the chat's excited about them. We all know they're excited. And some people in the chat love Behringer. Some people hate him. I love all synthesizers. That's the thing. I love them all.
Yeah.
And I love talking about them. I love complaining about them. We just shoot off, have a good time. But what do you think about Guitar Center, baby?
Oh. So, was it you? It was you who sent that to me,
Break
right?
the news. And for the chat, break the news.
So, Guitar Center looked like it was on its last leg. I mean, I went on there to look some stuff up as usual. I go on Musician's Friend everywhere. And Guitar Center was like, everything I looked at was either used or they just didn't carry it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And Behringer was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything they had was used Behringer. So today, the Synth Samurai sends me a little blurb about Behringer being exclusively sold at Guitar Center. So they're like, I know Sweetwater sells them and Tolman sells them and
mm-hmm.
stuff, but I thought that was huge for them because I remember back in 1989 when EU Wurlitzer didn't pay their bill. They were kind of like Guitar Center,
mm-hmm.
And didn't pay their bill to Behringer, and Behringer pulled all this shit out.
Yeah.
And kind of thing, that same thing happened to Guitar Center. So being,
Yeah.
seeing
Someone
that
someone
today,
just said Guitar Center went bankrupt because of Behringer.
I don't know about that, man. Guitar Center went bankrupt because they have sold that business to so many different people. And the recent thing that they did was it was the group of a conglomerate.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of went and said, "Oh, hey, let's buy this music company," and bailed them out. They're always getting bailed out because they owe so much money.
And I had my first experience in a Guitar Center when I went to visit my missus' parents, and I was like, "Oh, let me go. I'll take the camera and I'll go to Guitar Center. Never been to one, and I'll pop in and I'll play some demos on some synths, and we'll get some shots of it." Walked in the store, brother. Not a word of a lie. Walked in, opened the door, looked around, looked down on the floor. The floor was just covered in trash.
Gross.
It was covered in trash. I was like, has no one vacuumed in here? And so I started walking around. There was literally no synthesizers to demo. They had a couple like electronic pianos, but no synths. And then there were some boxes way up yonder on the toppest of top shelves, which I couldn't even get a hand at. Looked around. Nobody's working.
Nobody's asking questions.
No one's asking questions. So I just kept walking around looking, and I didn't find anything. I left the store, and I was like, man, what is going on with a place like this?
So when I worked at Guitar Center many years ago, it was over 20 years ago, I worked at the peak of Guitar Center. I mean, when I went back to the warehouse to get something, the shelves were stocked. I mean, I'm talking everything that you could imagine, every part you could imagine. I worked in the pro audio section, so I was worked with the keyboards and microphones and mixers and things like that, and software, and it was stocked like crazy, dude. You could walk in there and say, "Hey, I'm looking for Reason."
And they're like, "Boof, got you."
No problem, man. Let me grab it, right? And I don't know what happened. Again, it was some type of, they sold the business. Something happened. I ended up leaving. I ended up going to work to where I work now. And I remember going in the store. I remember seeing something in a flyer. This is when I was just disgusted. Excuse me. Oh, and speaking of clean floors, we vacuumed and dusted every night before we closed. That was part of our closing duty. You
got music gear in there. You should keep the place clean, man.
Yeah, and like I was one of the dudes that was head of the keyboard department. So, dude, I would ask my boss. I'm like, "Oh, cool. We just got this new Korg keyboard. Can I display it?" "Yeah, open a box up, man. Throw it on there." You know, I had everything going. I had all the speakers going. I had right. You go in there now, nothing works.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody takes care of anything. They unionize. They try to unionize, which that was a downfall right there. Nothing against unions, but that was a downfall because never mind. I won't get into that. Yeah. But anyway, so I get this flyer, you know, I got, this is when I used to get flyers. They used to send out like a little booklet and I saw something in the flyer that said, "Oh, I'm going to go pick one of those up. It says it's on sale." So I go in there. I don't even remember what it was, to be honest with you. And it was some stupid little electronic thing, I'm sure. Or was it something that I got cable or something that I wanted? Or so I go in there and I said to the kid, I said, "Hey man," I said, "how you doing?" He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm looking around and like, it's kind of like getting kind of, you know, grungy, right? I said, "Yeah, I picked up the flyer on the counter and I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for this. Says you guys have it on sale." "Oh yeah, dude, we're going to have to order that for you." So I looked at him, right? I go, "Really?" I go, "I came all the way down here and you're going to order it for me?" I go, "I could have ordered it online."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that was when it started to go down. And then something really weird happened to me. There was a big article that had happened. No, it was a YouTube video. And I watched it. It was the decline of Guitar Center. I forget the guy's name. And he was talking about what we're talking about. And so in the comments, some people were commenting, and then there was this guy who commented who actually was a Guitar Center rep. So I commented, I said, yeah, I used to work there and it's really sad. They used to be like the kings of, music stores, and I said, I felt really bad because it's not the same anymore. So this guy personally contacted me and my wife was like, well, why don't you get back to him? I'm like, I don't know. What does he want? Like, what does he want? Like, he's like, hey, I'd really like to talk to you. I'd really like to get your opinion on something. I'd really like you to, this is personal. Like he looked my name up and found out where, my phone number and stuff. It was really strange. I never called him back because I'm like, I don't know who the freak this guy is.
Yeah. It'd be funny if he was like, we would like you to take over Guitar Center.
No, it's just weird. You know what I mean? And I still don't know to this day what he wanted, but he was very concerned about what people's reactions were to that video. And, I don't know, maybe he was part of the new regime. And they're just feeling out things, but it's, the last thing I bought at Guitar Center, let me see, was my Elise's kit.
The drum kit?
Yeah.
And now let me ask you a question. So when you went and bought the Elise's kit, did you have the experience of being able to sit down, whack on it for a little bit and be like, I like this? Or were you like, I already looked at some demos, I'll go pick that up?
Yeah, the drum department at Guitar Center has always been spot on. They've always had stuff set up. So I got it. They had a bunch of electronic kits set up. I really wanted a Roland. It's what I had. That's what I sold. It's what I wish I didn't sell. But I didn't know I could have a drum set here in the condo. And I built a riser and stuff and made it all soundproof so I don't bother the neighbors downstairs. So I said, you know what? I'll just get the Elise's. It's like $379, and then I'll just customize the crap out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use Easy Drummer on it, and it'll sound great. And that's what I did.
Sweet.
Is it a Roland? No.
But it's an electronic drum machine. You can still use it for what you need to use it for.
Yeah.
So someone just said in the chat, they asked, is Behringer going exclusive with Guitar Center? I don't think they're going exclusive.
I didn't mean to use the word exclusive.
So I think they're going like Sweetwater and now Guitar Center in America. And also, there's a rumor going around that someone said that Chuck Norris is the CFO at Behringer now. So I don't know if that's true or not, but so this is what I'm thinking. Let's just war game out this scenario for a second. Just ride with me for a minute. So we got Behringer now making a partnership with what one would assume is on the downward Guitar Center. Just from our experiences and everybody's talking about it, Guitar Center's name has gone down the tubes. It's not what it used to be. So you got Behringer coming in now. And I'm assuming if Behringer has any smarts, which I think they're full of, they're going to set up a massive demo section inside of Guitar Center that will have Behringer swag, Behringer logo, and you'll be able to go in there and you'll be able to play all of the Behringers, because for me, if I go into a Guitar Center, if I went into the one there with my missus the other day, if I could have played a synthesizer, man, I might have walked out with one.
Right.
A lot of times I might not buy a synthesizer because I just can't really buy it online because I'm like, I don't know, I've just heard some demos. But if I can walk into the local Guitar Center, which I hope they end up changing the name to the Uli Superstore or Uli Synth Heaven or Behringer, Behringer Synth Superstore, something crazy like that. And then like
Behringer Center.
And guitars and small writing on the bottom, Yeah. Right? Like do something like that, because can you revive the Guitar Center name? If anything, a big shot of Behringer steroids might be able to make you revive it, because the people who were going to go in there and play guitars, the guitars were always there, like you said. The drums were always there. The part that was missing is synthesizers. And it seems to me that the electronic music and synthesizer scene is pretty hot at the moment.
Well, yeah,
pretty friggin' hot, man. Super Boots.
I mean, if you go into the Boston store, that's their flagship store. It's 3 floors. They have a lot of stuff in there. I mean, I went in there a couple of years back and they had a whole bunch of stuff lined up. They had Moogs and everything lined up. Flagship stores are like that.
Yep.
I went and tried out my Matrix Brute at that store. And I didn't like the salesman because one of my friends worked at the one in Danvers, Mass, and I ended up having them ship me a brand new one to that store so my buddy could get the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I bought my DeepMind 12 at the Danvers store because they had a couple of them, and they had one on demo. And again, this is only maybe, I mean, I've had that now for what, 7, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that they had stuff then, like you could go there, and I had a couple of friends that still work there. And I was able to try it out. You know, now, you know, I couldn't try out a Hydrasynth other than when I tried it out at NAMM. I couldn't try out an Osmos.
But this also, maybe this little injection by Behringer will open up more of a synthesizer experience at Guitar Center, man. Maybe if Behringer gets some stuff in there, then you'll get some other synth companies being like, let's get some products in there now that they're doing, that we can trust them again to do the demos and have it when people come in. Maybe not.
Or, and now I'm playing devil's advocate here, or there's something going on. So I'm going to say two things. Yuli's buying Guitar Center.
That's what I think.
Right? Or, people are going to turn around and say, well, Guitar Center's a shit store, so they're going to carry shit products.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, whoa. Oh, yeah, bro. That's already probably happening as is. It's like, oh, yeah, of course, Guitar Center would hold Behringer. They're both crap. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll be honest with you, too. When I was playing out with my band, when we were doing that rock opera, we had 4 Behringer floor monitors, powered. They were powered ones. They were 200 watts each. Dude, those things got banged around, dropped. I kicked one off stage by accident one night. That wasn't fun. I was real, you know, I asked my bass player at the end of the night, I said, how is it? And he's like, dude, plugged it in. It's fine. The whole thing was just like this super impact plastic. 2 big 15s. We had 2 12s, 2 15s with horns in them, and they were monitors, and they sounded amazing. They were loud. We used to just use those at practice, you know? So, I mean, you know, people could say all they want. I know we're getting back on the Behringer kick again. People could say all they want about Behringer, man, but, you know, I had a friend of mine kept telling me, oh, he saw the Behringer, A8000 that I have, that it's an IO connector. And that's what I use to go into my Focusrite. And he laughed at me when he saw it. He was like, dude, that thing's a piece of shit. Why didn't you get the Focusrite one? I said, oh, I don't know. Maybe because that one was $199 and the Focusrite one was $1,500.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I already spent like $1,700 on my interface. You know what I mean? So I was just like, and it works. It's great. Bo Beats is the one that told me to buy it.
Bo Beats, man. He gets one every once in a while, you know?
I messaged him. I said, what's that in your rack? And he's like, oh, and he messaged me back and he said, that's the Behringer A8000. It's an IO. It goes in, you know, what do you call it? Light pipe. You plug it into the back of whatever, you know, interface you have. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I bought one. You know,
how cool do you think this would be? What if they bought Guitar Center or partnered with them now and they're going to do what they're going to do, go in and check out what's happening? What if they just changed all the Guitar Center's names to Music Tribe? What a cool name for a music store.
Wow.
Like, what if they just removed the Guitar Center, put in Music Tribe, filled it with all the Music Tribe products plus used products? And to me, that's like, when I think if I was to say, like, walking down the street and I looked up at the corner of my eye and it was like Music Tribe, I'd be like, oh, man, I'll go check that out because that's a very cool name.
Well, I mean, Behringer makes guitars.
So what, they could fill the store with all their own stuff.
They make drum kits.
Man, to me, if you want to talk about visionary,
Uli
Behringer's a visionary whether you like it or not. And that's a visionary move is to go back to brick and mortar. Because this is the perfect way to go back. to brick and mortar as well,
True.
you know? For this type of business where you actually go in, you sit down in there for 2 hours, you do a demo, you got Music Tribe coffee. You can grab a Music Tribe coffee from the little cafe in there, grab your coffee, walk around, jam on a little Pauly D for a little bit, you know, while you twiddle a little SY-1, you know?
I mean, how many people in the chat think Samurai's onto something with that one?
I don't know, man.
That's very interesting, dude.
I was just thinking about it today because I couldn't get it. I was like, are they doing this to get distribution points because Sweetwater can't hold enough product for them and get it out fast enough? So are they like, all right, if we can get distribution points, basically use Guitar Centers as warehouses in the US pretty much, right? So it's like, all right, now we got 70, because I think I read there was 42 Guitar Centers in America right now. There used to be 306.
Oh
maybe.
yeah, they closed a bunch of them.
Yeah, so let's just say there's 46. That gives Uli 46 Behringer warehouses in America, right? Where he can stock all his product.
Wow.
Now, if he can combine that with turning it into an actual music store, because Guitar Center is cool, but I think Music Tribe's cooler.
It used to be cool. You know, when I first walked into a Guitar Center, it was in Boston, and it was something else, dude. Like there had to be over fucking like 2,000 guitars on the wall.
Is that still on the go out there?
The one in Boston?
Yeah, we should go check that out sometime, man. That'd be a cool little thing to do. Take the cameras, do some videos and stuff.
It's like I said, it's 3 floors. Yeah, we should do that.
That'd be sweet,
I'd be
man.
totally down
Take
with
an
that.
afternoon, go out there, you know, to go around the whole day, do a podcast from on the road.
Go down the North End, get some pizza.
That's right. Sweet,
get
baby.
some really nice Italian pizza.
Yes, sir. That sounds good to me, man. That's cool. So that's kind of what's going on with Guitar Center and Behringer. We're gonna have to wait and see. I think it's pretty exciting. What's up?
So Music Tribe, right? That's not just Behringer.
Exactly.
That's TC Electronics. That's Midas. I mean, dude.
Yeah, they got.
That's insane. Dude, you could be onto something there. Could you imagine if that's what they're doing?
It's not like I was talking to Uli when I took that glider up to the top of the mountain the other day.
But think about that, man. I mean,
I think there's something happening.
That would be really something, because now you're talking.
It'd be special.
Yeah.
And now that Behringer's getting back into making these preamps and compressors, and they're starting to use the Behringer name, right, into other things now. And they already got the hype. And like you said, there's so many other products under the Music Tribe banner.
Wow.
So I think they're making a move, man. And they're making the move at the perfect time, baby, if you ask me. Right for 2025, when the U.S. economy just goes through the roof, baby. Oh my God, we're going into the golden era, man. Dude. Is there any time to get involved in American business? It is 2025. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. It's exciting. It's
I just want to look. I just want to read this to you.
Yeah.
We've got. Now let me just bring this up. We've got Aston microphones, which are amazing. I have an Aston microphone.
Mm-hmm. We've
got Turbo Sound. We've got Clark Audio.
Yep.
That's warm audio, dude. That's what they do. The Clark Audio makes all the compressors and stuff. We've got TC Electronics. We've got Midas. We've got Bulgara amplifiers. We've got I don't know. I never heard of this Lab Group N. It's a German thing. TC Heliquin, which is basically the higher end of TC Electronics. Mm-hmm. We've got Lake Audio, Tannoy. Tannoy speakers are amazing. And what's the other one? Cool Audio. And then, of course, Behringer.
And then Behringer. Dude, so, I mean,
that's a whole store.
They're going to call it Music Tribe. You heard it here first. Timestamp it.
Wow.
Music Tribe Superstores. 47 of them in America, just like that.
That's crazy.
As soon as they go in and fix everything up, man. Wouldn't that be amazing?
You might be the crystal ball. Your brain is the crystal ball.
I got that Rick Rubin antenna going, you know?
Wow. I don't know. I'm pretty blown away by that, dude.
There is a rumor going around that Uli did have a love child, and
It was you.
There's a rumor.
Don't tell your mother.
Yeah, there's a rumor. Yeah, maybe mom told me. You know. So yeah, so we'll kick off that. That's Behringer, man. That's super exciting. I think they got an exciting summer coming up after Super Booth. They got a bunch of exciting releases now. They're keeping everyone pumped up because you know what they do, man. They keep everyone motivated. And the Synth Cushion, a couple of people wrote me today and said they did a pre-order, and it looks like it's going to get there to their house November. Right?
Wow, that's awesome. So
that's pretty sweet. And I'm really hoping that they drop a drum machine this summer. And, you know, besides that, there wasn't that much synth kind of related news last week. Did you come across anything interesting?
I'm still seeing bits and pieces of Super Booth. Things trickling in. There was some cool synth. I think I sent it to you. I forget who the manufacturer was, a small company. It looked really cool though. It was all gray and silver, and I forget the name of it. I'd have to look it up again, but so I mean, there's just
some dribs and drabs.
Yeah, the small companies are still cool. I mean,
I love the small companies.
Yeah.
One cool thing from Super Booth, I don't know if a lot of people talked about, is I watched the interview with, how do you say it, Modal?
Modal, yeah.
Modal. So I watched the interview with Modal where they brought in this dude. He seemed like he was Irish, I think, or Welsh or something. And they were sitting down on the couch talking, and they got rescued by the Hong Kong company, right? The people that were manufacturing the Modal synthesizers, they actually bought Modal, and now that Chinese company is running the company, right? But one of the cool things they said they were going to start doing is when they were at Super Booth, they were like, we want to actually start collaborating with all these small synthesizer companies. Basically said all these geniuses here who are coming up with amazing products, and they don't have the ability to get manufacturing or production. And if you got a great idea, we'd love to bring you in and partner with you where, you know, and I thought that was the coolest thing, because me and you've talked about it before. I'm all about, what do you call it? Competitive collaboration.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all about when, like, if I make a video, of course I want you to play the video on your channel if you want to, you know? If you make a video, why wouldn't you want me to be like, oh, even if I was like, look at this is stupid, blah, blah, blah. I don't even care. But like, if you took my video and you're like, look at this dork, man, wearing these glasses, he's a total tool, you know? Like, he's a complete moron. He doesn't know what he's talking. That's fine.
Right.
You know, if you want to create a channel making fun of me, I hope your channel does amazing. Right? But if you want to do it in a positive sense, which I'm more into, you know, I'm more into going the non-vampiric way, you know, the daywalker style, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a daywalker.
Yeah,
so
you're a daywalker, El Blanco, baby. Right? So that's what I'm into. So what I thought it was cool that they were like, you know, if we get these companies, if they're smart, if they want to reach out, and if we can do a collaboration, because there were so many small companies at Super Booth, which I didn't get to spend a ton of time watching some videos on, but there's so many. It seemed like even old Nicky Bat was like, bro, I couldn't even get to half of the boost there.
And they're still releasing stuff.
They're still releasing stuff. So I can't imagine how much was going on there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Matt's running around, excuse me, he stayed at a couple of places, but he was, I was like, wow, man, like, this is endless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he even said it. He goes, I haven't even gotten half of the stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has another video out where he covers the rest of it. But I mean, you know, Super Booth is it's all about synthesizers, man. It's all about modules. It's all about all that stuff. So I mean, I think it's really cool that I have an issue with China doing a lot of things, but I don't want to sound like an asshole.
Hey, man.
But I mean, I bought a Chinese synthesizer. So
hey, let me tell you that this might be the greatest synthesizer you ever bought. Once you dig deep, I don't know, man.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like China, you know.
What about the build quality of the Hydrasynth? Hold on. Tell me about the build quality of the Hydrasynth. This thing is built like insane,
like a tank.
Dude. It's crazy, isn't it?
Like, I pulled the thing out of the box, and I'm going, holy crap! Well, you'll see. I gotta finish editing the video tonight, but I was like, I pulled the thing out of the box. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this thing's heavy, right?
Yeah.
It's probably almost as heavy as the Matrix Brute.
Yeah, and dude, it feels so. And
It's
I
a tank.
didn't mean to cut you off. But,
No, that's fine. I and the knobs,
yeah,
everything feels so nice and smooth and
it's Chinese, bro.
well, that's what I was gonna say. So what I mean by that is like, there's a lot of things that piss me off that they do, and it's only because of their government. I have nothing against Chinese people at all.
Mm-hmm.
The government sucks, and what they're doing to Taiwan manufacturing.
Careful, man. We don't need another power outage around here, dude.
I know, right? But as far as the people go, and as far as what their manufacturing, abilities go, it's amazing. I mean, I wish we could manufacture things here in America. I know they would probably be more expensive because that's just the way things are. But that thing is proven. Plus, what's his name? The guy
for
that
the price too, man.
Because the guy that helped create the Hydra is the guy who created the Matrix Brute.
Yeah, exactly. They got a crazy team behind them. I can't remember his name either, but they got a real good team behind the Hydrasynth.
Yeah,
and the manual is awesome. It's like a novel, bro.
Yeah, I didn't look through the manual, very much. I opened it and checked it out.
It's like friggin' Shakespeare, dude.
But what I like about it, now you're gonna laugh. Back in the day, right?
Yeah.
When you got a Japanese synth made in Japan, and that's where Korgs were and Rolands were made at the time, I had to buy a separate manual because the manual that I got with the Korg, I had a Korg M1. The manual I got with the Korg M1, whoever translated it really screwed things up.
Yeah,
so you
amazing.
had to, there was a company, I forget the name of the company, but they had blue covers.
Yeah.
And if anybody in the chat remembers any of this back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a blue manual. You would go to like eWorlds or a Guitar Center, they would sell them.
Yeah.
And it was called the Korg M1 Owner's Manual, but it was written by I think it's Greg Anderton.
So he went and just translated the manual himself, or he wrote a new manual for the synth?
He wrote a new manual for each synthesizer.
That's pretty cool.
I think it was Greg Anderton. And I think I don't know if he's the Anderton music guy.
Yeah.
But he was British. And literally, dude, like you when you got a manual from Japan, you were like, what?
Yeah.
It was like, it would tell you to press on a certain button and you'd be like, this doesn't have that button.
That's interesting, dude.
So, I mean, for a manual to come from China to be written the way that manual is written in the, for the Hydrasynth that's pretty friggin' impressive. Again, nothing against Chinese manufacturing because everything in my studio is made in China.
Yeah.
So, including this wonderful microphone that Toner sent me. I dig this mic, dude.
Yeah, I got to get that mic. I'm going to pick that mic up. I got to get that mic. I had someone write me today about a product too. I was going to email it to you and see what you thought about it, but it's just kind of like it almost looked like a Ableton pad. What are the push pad, thing?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the company. I'll tell you later, but I can't remember it. But it's pretty cool. I was like, let me see if this would be something that maybe people would like to see, but I got to check it out. Another thing too is I think Mr. Filter Sweep just popped in the chat, and
Mr. Filter Sweep.
Yeah, and he wanted to do a triple, and I said, well, listen, man, maybe we'll gear up a power hour where we'll come in when we get some big news dropping. We'll do we'll not do the Synth Fighter. We'll do it on that Synth Show podcast. We'll do a power hour where the three of us come in. We'll just bash around some topics for an hour.
Yeah.
And do like a one like that. I'm thinking, but he sent me a schedule, and I don't know, man. The dude's got 30 jobs. He was like, sent me like 2 months worth of schedules, and he was like, everyone with the gray dot, I'm working nights or something. And I was like, I looked, I was like, dude, they're all everything's a gray dot, So I was like, I don't know, man. Did you also?
I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm down.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Did you?
I'm totally down.
Did you get my Pledge of Allegiance the other day I sent?
I did.
My oath to Behringer?
I did. Let me get it. I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah, let me read it to the chat here. Right? This is what I wrote up the other day, fellas and ladies and everything else in the chat. I wrote the Oath to Behringer, and here it is.
Which one?
I got two. I'll read them both because I got the Oath to Behringer, and then I have the Oath of the Behringer Bros.
Oh, that's right.
So the Oath to Behringer goes something like this. I solemnly swear my allegiance to Behringer, the bastion of innovation and creativity. I vow to uphold the values of quality, affordability, and accessibility in the realm of sound. With unwavering dedication, I pledge to support the vision of Behringer, advancing the musical dreams of all who seek to create. I think that's pretty nice, don't you?
It's pretty cool.
Now we got the Oath to the Behringer Bros, which is a little better. We, the Behringer Bros, pledge our unwavering allegiance to Uli Behringer, the lord of the synthesizer army and the champion of the working man. We commit ourselves to his vision of bringing high-quality, affordable sound to the masses. With every beat and melody, we honor his leadership, striving to innovate and inspire. Together, we march forward in harmony, dedicated to the pursuit of musical excellence and the empowerment of every musician, no matter their means. That's the deal, baby.
Music Tribe.
Behringer Bros. All day. Everyone thinks we're Behringer Bros. I'm a synth bro. That's what I just might as well start calling us. Like, I just love synthesizers. You do too. You know, Jorb got it right.
Absolutely.
Jorb loves gear. I pretty much love synths. You know?
I showed you my I sent you the picture of my box of my haul.
Dude.
I was in the back of my Jeep, dude. Like I was like filling up my Jeep with Behringer boxes.
Well, listen, man. We were saying, does anyone in the chat have this issue? Echo sent me a picture today, and it was a car full of synth boxes. And in my mind, when you sent me that, dude, I was like, is he throwing those away? Is he crazy? Because I thought you were bringing them to the dump. And I was like, so does anyone in the chat do that too, man? I got an attic full of boxes upstairs, and the missus is like, do you really need that box? And I'm like, I need that box. She's like, do you need the bigger box that box came in? I'm like, I'll probably keep both. Yeah, I'm going to keep both of those.
Yes, because if you notice in that picture I sent you, I had the Mini Freak box.
Yeah.
And then I had this big, giant cardboard box underneath that. And my wife was like, you're not throwing that out? And I'm like, no, that's the box that the Mini Freak box came in.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, why? And I'm like, well, if I have to send the Mini Freak out, I don't need to get a box. Now I have one, you know?
I went downstairs.
You keep all the packing stuff too?
Oh yeah, I keep everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I went downstairs the other day and I was like, hey, what's that box doing in the fire pile? And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, that box is in case I try to send this box with that box in it later. It's like the triple box, you know?
Yeah, because you got to protect it if you got to send it out to be repaired or if you got to send it back.
And how about this? How about this? When I go on to Reverb or Sweetwater Exchange, if it says no original box,
you don't buy it.
I ain't buying it, dude.
Nope.
Sorry. I don't know why, because I like when I buy something used to feel like I bought it new, if that makes sense. I don't want it just to show up wrapped in a beach towel, you know, in some random box.
Wrap.
Yeah, exactly. I want it to show up in the box. And if the cat is cool, he'll even tape it up so I get to cut the tape with my utility knife, you know?
So when I sell my gear on Gear Exchange, I tell them straight up, I'm like, it comes in all original packaging, manuals, if I can find them. During the move, I lost a lot of my manuals. I don't know where the hell they are. They're probably in the storage unit somewhere. But, you know, nowadays I just download my manual right onto my iPad. So it's like, you know, there it is. But
yeah.
But the nice thing is when I get like when they send a comment back saying, hey, I got your gear. I got the gear, man. Thanks so much. Yeah. Wow. You know, I feel like Christmas. I'm opening up the box like it's brand new. Yeah. And it's cool. You know what I mean? Like,
it just feels nicer when you get something used almost in its original form, you know?
Yeah. And as a person selling the product, I would want that.
Yeah.
You know, if I was receiving the product. So, I mean, I was selling the product and then send it to them. I took out insurance on it.
Yeah.
You know, when I sent it FedEx, I'm like, I tell them, I'm like, I took insurance out on it for you. You know, it cost me a little extra money, but I don't give a shit. Like, I'd rather them get the product and enjoy it like I did.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody that I've sold stuff to, you know, had something nice to say and gave me 5 stars. So, you know, I'm not doing that just, I got 5 stars. I'm doing that because I want them to experience what I experienced, like you said, when you got it shipped to you and you opened it for the first time.
And
You know,
everything's
you're like,
nice,
wow.
even when the cats go through the effort of taking the plug cord
Yep.
and rolling it back up and putting the little the bread clip around it or whatever.
I send them nice. Here, I'll show you. This is one of them. I don't know. I had a whole bunch of them, but I send them nice.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, those Velcro-y type
Nice
things.
little Velcro ties. I got a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So that's what I do. I wrap the stuff up in that. I even send sometimes, like with, what was it? The Roland SQ1,
Okay.
SQ2.
Yep.
What is it?
Roland?
Yeah, the Roland SQ01, is it that what it is? I forget. Anyway, I sold that thing because the knobs were driving me crazy. But I also sent the guy a little patch kit for MIDI.
Mm-hmm.
And I tied that up with some stuff, and I didn't have to send that to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm like, well, I bought it for this, so you can, I'm not going to use it, so you might as well use it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Gear Exchange to me is awesome. Sweetwater Gear Exchange is better than Reverb.
Yeah.
Because you get to keep everything.
I like the Sweetwater one.
Yeah.
Reverb gets annoying a little bit sometimes now, to be honest with you. It's a bit weird.
Well, you know
sometimes.
who owns Reverb, right?
No, I don't.
Pinterest.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Pinterest bought Reverb?
Pinterest bought Reverb.
Damn, dude.
Crazy, right?
I heard somebody just bought Subway too.
Really?
Yeah, they just brought out some cookies and these cinnamon rolls. And I watched this thing, and Scott was like, yeah, the same people now who own Subway actually own...
It's Uli. Uli bought Subway.
Uli bought Subway. You're going to be able to go into Subway soon, and every table will have a Behringer synthesizer
on it.
All right, a word from our sponsor. We got Synth Samurai synth dusters.
Oh, I like the blue.
This is the prototype. The actual ones will probably have a wood handle with Samurai burned into it.
I was going to say.
That's what we're going to go for. I saw these for probably $5 to $10. I don't know.
I was going to say. My wife saw you do that the other night when we were watching the Kumite. And my wife goes, really? Can't he just go down to like Home Depot and grab one of those? And I go, but wait, I got an idea. So you sell them, and you get an etcher. They're cheap now, right?
Yeah.
And you burn in Kumite on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kumite. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And she was like, okay, that might be a good idea.
I mean, dude, this thing here, I don't want anyone to go out and get these yet before I get them up on the store.
I like the blue. That's cool.
Dude, isn't that cool?
I got a little.
It's like the perfect synth duster. Oh, you got one too? Dude, you got to get the echo burned into that one.
Yeah, this one has a wooden handle.
Yeah.
But
that's sweet.
I was watching Yuki. Ever watch Yuki's videos?
Yeah, Yuki. I like Yuki the Dragon.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He got a thing. It's what women use on their face.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he got to use by a company called Elf. I guess they make makeup for chicks.
Mm-hmm.
They make makeup for people.
Yeah.
Got to be politically correct. But
hey, these days, all right?
But no, it's super soft and stuff. And I showed my wife. She says, yeah, I have one of those. And they're not that expensive, but that's what he uses to clean his synths, because he said, like, these are super soft, and I'm sure the one that you have is super soft. But these are like really, really fine, and that's what he uses to clean his synths. He said,
I might even need to go finer on these bristles, to be honest.
Really?
I'm thinking. I don't know. We got to check it out. I got to talk to the R&D department.
Yeah.
See if they can
get like horsehair ones made.
Yeah, get a horsehair one. That's right.
then you'll have you'll have Petra?
Oh my God, good Lord.
Coming after you, bro. They'd be like,
listen, I gotta take a break from feeding the trolls, man. I don't know why I was we talk about this all the time. Every once in a while you'd be like, and then I'm like, I gotta just stop talking to the trolls.
Yeah.
Because you know what they want, and they're coming in droves these days, especially
We call that feeding the dragon, dude.
Yeah, dude, you just like gotta like stop, and it's hard, especially when
It's
they're
hard.
You know, because sometimes, well, obviously they have an art, and I don't know what these people are. I don't know why they do it.
I told you, they're keyboard cowboys.
Yeah,
There are people that get off on sitting behind a computer keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I work with some of them. You know, they're all talk when they're writing an email.
Yeah.
Well, then, you know, when a manager or somebody where I work confronts them,
Yeah, get knuckled up.
they cry.
Yeah, get knuckled up,
You know?
man. I might do what they do in the MMA videos. You ever see that when like the MMA videos, they'll have like mixed martial arts UFC dudes will be doing something. They'll have trolls in their comments being like, "I'll whoop you, I'll whoop you."
Yeah.
And they're like, "All right, come down to the gym,
Yeah,
3
come on
p.m.
down."
Sunday." That's what I might do out in the backyard. Come down to the samurai's backyard, 3 p.m. Sunday, Danky, and we'll knuckle up. You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe not knuckle up. Come down. That's how I do it. Come down to the backyard. I'll put some synths out. We'll have a synth off. We'll keep it non-physical, you know?
He doesn't even play synths, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what he does, man. He does something. That's
He's
for sure.
He's playing with his Dungeons and Dragons COD game. I told you, my friend John yelled at me for going on. He's like, stop going on the troll sites and finding out how many people subscribe to them and stuff. I'm like, I gotta though, man. I want to know who these people are.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what is the point of them doing what they do?
I think you want to know my honest opinion on this? And
Lonely life, bro.
I think it's more spiritual. I think it's dark magic, it's black magic, it's dark energy, and they're using electronics to cast mini spells on you, and by using the comment sections and stuff to go after you, they try to implant seeds in your mind that then give you anxiety throughout the day, or they try to take your energy and put it like emotion, energy in motion. They try to take your energy, and but by them making a comment now, they've kidnapped your emotion. And now they're steering where it's going, right? So I think it's like a spiritual, dark, black magic thing because
No, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's what I mean. I think it's more of a dark, sinister thing going on there. Because why would you want to do that kind of stuff?
Well, I agree. I think more I guess we'll use this term. They're emotional vampires. Like they just want to attack you, you know, and
sink their digital teeth right into your jugular.
and they get into you. And they get, like you said, they get at you.
Yeah, like a tick. They're digital ticks.
Yeah, it's weird. And again, you and I have both, and I'm sure people in the chat have experienced it as well. I know Hayes and I had a conversation, because people do that to you. They attack you, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just sit there and I go, I don't get it, man. Like, if I go after them, I told you I went after that one guy, and my buddy John was like, for those people who don't know my buddy John basically works, I don't know what you'd call him. He told me he's the guy that his team basically watches the government. Let's put it that way. So I don't really know what that means, but anyway, I told him, I gave John his name.
Call those guys the Guardians, the Watchers.
That's what they're like. Yeah. And so John said, Jay, those of you who don't know my name is Jay. It's not ECHOKRAFT.
You didn't legally change that yet?
No. But anyway, so he said, Jay, stop feeding the dragon. He goes, because these guys love it. They get off on it.
Yeah.
He goes, and he said, take that down. Because he said, it makes your integrity as a YouTube contributor. He says, it takes it away from your integrity.
Yeah.
He said, so take it down. I said, should I take his down? He said, no, leave his up, but take yours down, because
that's good advice.
I trashed him, because he trashed me. He came at me, and then I loved it. At the end, his last comment to me was, you attacked me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, you called me an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, and then at the end, he goes, and good day to you, sir. That's how he ended it. And I just started laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, you lost a subscriber. Okay. You know,
That's the best. That's the best. I don't
I
know.
was just like, who cares? You know, so that's what I know. You went after the guy today, but what you said was, you know, I didn't think that you said anything bad.
I try to, like, when I try to go at the troll, I try to kind of, I don't know, man. I'm just going to knock it off, actually. I'm just never going to go at the trolls anymore.
And what happened, though? He came back at you.
Yeah. It's just never ending. It's this weird loop, right? And it's just, and the funny thing is, I'm aggravated. He's happy.
Yeah.
So
well, that's just it.
That's the energy theft you got going on.
Yeah. Energy vampire.
So let's clue up the last little bit here for a minute and just talk quick about the Kumite. We had the Kumite week.
Yes.
What was it? Week 6 we just did?
Was it 6 or 7?
I think it was 6 of 8. Yeah, 6. That was 6. This week is 7. Next week's 8. And then we got the award show. Anybody in the chat who don't know what the Kumite is, we kind of just out of nowhere started this little thing. It was an 8-week kind of like martial arts program turned into Synthesizer, where you got 1 week to make a song. You post it in a Bandcamp, which you created your own little account. And then on Sunday nights, we just do like a listening party together, man. And I'll tell you what, dude, I don't know if it's just me. You tell me your opinion. Every week, it just, it's like things are synergizing and flowing, and everyone's taking some of other people's skills.
Yeah.
Like in Mega Man, you know, when you beat the boss and you get his skills.
It's pretty cool. It's grown. Like I like the fact, including myself, I like the fact that we're growing. Yeah. Like I'll listen to some people's music and I'll go, wow, man, like this is completely different from what they did last week. And then we had the week off. So I think that gave people a little bit more time to like kind of collect and do something. Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's cool. I like the fact it reminds me, and I said this the last time, it reminds me of every Monday on Spotify, I get a new playlist of electronic music.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool, right? It's
very
cool.
And I just think that's cool. You know, some stuff you like, some stuff you don't like, some stuff you look at and go, okay, that's interesting. You know what I mean? I don't expect everybody to like what I do. And
man, I love going in blind. The first week I didn't.
That's what I do.
I like going in blind. I like the surprises. It's exciting. Frank Manhands wants to know how he gets in. How you get in, dude? You got what weeks? You got 2 weeks left. So all you got to do is
love that name.
Yeah, Frank Manhands, best handle out there. You basically set up a Bandcamp account. You look in my description. There's my email. Just send me the link to your Bandcamp account in the email, and then I add you to my favorites, and then you're in. Then Sunday night on the live stream, you got 1 week to make a song. We kind of encourage everybody to take the whole exercise is to take the week, beat your perfection paralysis. Just do your best to make a song in that week, and when it's done, it's done. And at the end of 8 weeks, you got an album. Now, if you got to submit an old song, you take an old song and maybe that you haven't released, and maybe you add a little bit to it or something like that, if that's what you want to do. But the real bread and butter of the exercise is if you can make a song in 1 week and post it, and then kind of like set it and forget it. And it's that kind of cathartic, like, all right, I completed something. And then at the end of 8 weeks, man, you got an album on Bandcamp, and maybe no one ever listens, but guess what? 30 people listen to your songs every Sunday night, and it's cool. And people are joining every week. We had a couple newcomers last week, so.
Yeah, we had, I was like, what, 38 people? Something like that. We started out with what, 23 or something?
Yeah, I think it started first night. I think it was 18 or 17.
Yeah.
And then I guess people are popping in and out sometimes just when the stream goes live. And
yeah, it's growing, man.
It's growing. It's cool. It's fun. I had an idea today, but the Discord kind of shot it down. I was like, maybe I'll do summer Kumite, call it the fire Kumite, and the winter Kumite, call it the ice Kumite. And what I was going to do for the winter Kumite was YouTube. So you integrate your music with a music video, and you got 1 week to make a song and add a video to it. Some people were like, bro, that's too intense. Can't do it, you know? And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's a bit intense. So maybe I might do a spin-off, and anybody
that's
who wants
kind of cool.
I won't call it Kumite, I'll call it something else, and just keep the Kumite like a once a year thing, you know?
That's kind of cool.
Kumite twice a year, 8 weeks. I might just do it twice a year. We'll see. But I thought that was a cool idea because, as you know, once you start doing this stuff, man, you start learning skills and figuring it out. And it's kind of cool. So the deal with the winter Kumite would have been create your YouTube channel, send me your YouTube link, right? And then we'll just do it that way. And you can make a music video, you can do a live jam, you can do an artistic thing, you can do an MTV style comedy, you know, Michael Jackson, Pretty Little Thing style, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is pretty intense. And if you are a little bit of a perfectionist, that would probably give you a lot of anxiety.
Yeah. One of the things that I like about it is like some of the stuff that I've entered was stuff that were just ideas.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I looked at them and then I finished them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would send it into the Kumite. A couple of songs that I sent in were things that it forced me to write something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thing I did with the Osmos.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that just for the Kumite.
It's amazing.
You know? So I mean, like those things are like, it kind of forces you to do stuff. I work better under pressure anyway, so it's kind of fun for me.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I know there are other people that are like, oh God, I got to come up with something. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I just say, have fun with it, man.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
just have fun. That's kind of what I'm doing too. In my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just trying to create my album I'm trying to create the story of the Kumite. So I'm trying to do the narrative story of the Kumite as like each week I'm adding this new little type of narrative that will be like a memory.
But that's what makes you so unique. And a lot of people, I don't know if they get what you're doing. I get what you're doing. I think it's cool because back in the day, did we talk about this before? Back in the day when I used to buy comic books when I was a kid, you would get a little plastic flip out. It was a record. And you would put it on the turntable, and as you're reading the comic book, it tells you the story, and it has music in the background. And you know, it always had some dude, I don't know, some actor doing the voice, you know, of like Superman or whatever, right? And I like what you do, dude. And I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. I mean it. I like what you do. It's cool. You tell a story. You're using the vocoder to create these different voices. And I think it's cool. So I mean, it's
especially
different.
Cool for this in my mind. So I'm like, oh, this is exactly what. But then the cool part is, brother, is that when the Kumite starts, everybody's track is like it's because I don't know about you, but a lot of times I'm like visualizing what's happening. I'm visualizing this like this is my picture of the Kumite. It's an underground Blade Runner city. Everybody's gathered. They found the Kumite. They're down in this underground, and they're all there, and they're all having their chance to play their tracks, and the tracks send out super positive vibes. And then there's the dark forces that know that this Kumite is happening. They're trying to stop it because it's sending out too good vibes to the world. And then there's like Wallace is like the bodyguard protector who's like the bridge between stopping and not letting stopping the evil. That's kind of the vision that I'm like kind of working with.
That's cool.
I don't know if it's coming across like that, but that's what's going on in my head.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like, that's imagination. That's what music's all about. That's what art is all about. You know, like you said before, did you create it or did it come to you to create it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think it's cool. I think it's cool what you're doing. I want to see you do this. I want to see you put together an album someday of an entire story.
Yeah.
With your music in the background and you doing the voices over.
Yeah, I want to do that.
The reason why I say that is because like I drive to work. It takes me anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes a day. I would totally pop that in my car and listen to that.
But see, that's the kind of thing this is the other thing. So the Kumite also for me, and I'm sure you and a lot of people in the chat are also saying that, you know, it's giving them like this extra kind of like energy boost. Because not only are you like, all right, I got to get something in, you're being held accountable to an extent, you know, even if you get it in on the last day, even if you work on it all week, there's this motivation to be like, all right, I'm involved in something. And then there's a product at the end of it and blah, blah, blah. And for me too, now I'm like, man, maybe I should like take the energy after the Kumite and then focus it into making a proper album or something too, you know. That's what I'm hoping this will do, is kind of like this momentum will keep everyone rolling once the Kumite ends. And I got an idea. Maybe I'll even do like a once a month, we'll go in and check out everybody who's in the Bandcamp once a month show, and we'll just click around a bunch of songs and play some songs that people keep making them, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of just to keep the vibe going once a month instead of every week, right?
Well, yeah, man. Like, you know, like when I was involved in martial arts, I looked forward to going to the dojo.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me that energy, that feeling. Hey, I'm going to work out tonight. No matter how crappy I felt, no matter how like either I was depressed or whatever. When I went to the dojo to work out, I felt great.
Always feel better after, man.
Yeah, and I look forward to like seeing my sensei and talking to him because he was always motivating me. I would go there sometimes before class would start, and I would ask him questions, or he helped me through my divorce. You know, he was like a mentor to me, and that's kind of like the Kumite to me. It's like, you know, I look forward to Sunday. Because I'm like, and my wife is funny. She's like, "Oh, you're doing that Kumite thing, huh?" I'm like,
baby, Sunday night. This is Kumite, you know?
That's it, man.
You got to take a break for 8 weeks here now until we get.
And she knows because like when I was getting into martial arts and stuff, you know, I was dating her at the time, and I'd be like, "Hey, and I'll call you after I get back from the dojo," because you know, and I go 3 nights a week, you know.
It's the musical dojo, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah, man. Like that's what it is, you know.
It's like positive, dude. Everyone's so fired up and positive.
That's the thing.
And like I said, everybody's taking little pieces of each other, I feel like, because as the weeks go by, it's almost like everybody's flowing into this kind of theme. Like even this week when we started, because what I'm trying to do is you go in this week, I start from the back and go to the front to the back, middle.
Yep.
And this week when we started from the back, dude, it started with this like super chill vibe for the first 4 songs. And then it started building, and Hayes Anderson came in with the 303. And then it just picked up right till the end, you know?
Well, that's I remember making the comment when I think it was either you or somebody said, it's like, wow, it's a real chill vibe tonight. And I went, I think it was you. And you were like, wow, maybe this is going to be the whole vibe for the night. And I went, nope.
Yeah, not happening, man. And you got Space Capsule did a cool live jam in there. So like you get this variety of, you can tell when people are really structuring a track, you know, and then you can tell when people are doing a live jam, it's got a different vibe. Then when people are doing more of like Garen M did that crazy track last week, was it? Or 2 weeks ago, where he was like, sometimes you think it's going to end and it'll pick back up. And man, what him and Synthseeker do with their, I think both of them use it, but I'm not sure. Do you ever watch Synthseeker's channel?
No, I haven't.
Check his thing out on Sunday, Synthseeker. He does a live stream every Sunday.
Oh, okay.
That's Flanagan Letworks, actually. That's his name he uses in the Bandcamp. Okay. And he goes on, man. He's got, I don't know, the Ableton Push 3 or whatever. And man, what he does a lot of the Berlin School stuff. It sounds amazing, dude. You got to check it out. It's cool, yeah. He does it, I think it's Sunday 2:30 or 3 or something like that. But all the tracks are awesome. And everyone's got different tastes. So this week I loved Muay Thai. I was like, dude, that one, I just love that one.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then Harmonic Sonics did that reggae mix that was absolutely out of this world. You know, everybody's track's awesome. Yeah.
Everybody's track is unique, and I'm glad, because a lot of times, like, even like when I listen to that stuff from Spotify, you know, I'll get a lot of the same kind of sound, and I go skip, because that's the thing about this is everything's different.
Yeah, the variety's nuts. Yeah, and unique. It is. And everybody's unique.
Yes.
And it's a weird thing, because if you found the Kumite, you're unique.
I think so.
Because it's such a weird thing to end up getting yourself involved in. in a way, like, how did you find this Kumite, you know?
Right.
How did the idea come about? How did the idea come about? And then people be like, that's a good idea, let's do it. And then it happens. And then suddenly there's people like filtering into this event.
Right.
And it's actually turning into something pretty cool.
I've actually mentioned it to a couple of friends of mine. And I don't know if Mitchell will do it. Super talented guy, electronic musician. He's the one that works at Berkeley and that has access to all of those analog synths. That I sent you the list of.
That's amazing,
dude.
Got to get there.
Right now he has a virus that he took out of the locker, and he paired that up with a mini Moog, So
Oh,
he's like, dude,
man.
check this setup out. Like his mind is exploding right now. He's like, dude, these synthesizers are amazing. And I'm just like, yeah, because all he was playing, I should say all he was playing, but all he had was a Nord lead.
Oh, baby.
That's
so
what he
now
owns.
he's just gone through the wormhole.
Oh, he's like, his brain is exploded, dude. He's like,
Synthesizers are such an awesome hobby, man. It is
Seriously.
such an awesome hobby. It's so awesome. It's a blessing, to be honest. It's a pure blessing.
I think, you know, Mr. Filter Sweep said it when you were talking to him, and I had said it. A synthesizer, you can mold any sound you want out of it. I've gotten flute sounds, a flute out of an analog synth with no presets.
Yeah.
That was the cat, right? And I just sit there and I go, and I wasn't planning on getting a flute sound, but I was sitting there going, geez, I want something breathy, you know, out of an analog synth. So you can get any sound you want out of it, you know, and then some. If you're not looking for, you know, organic sounds, because to me, synthesizers are organic anyway. Even if they're digital, they still have an organic feel to them.
Yeah.
You get weird stuff happening. You know, I mean, again, you could do that with a guitar, but I find it interesting that guitarists now, if you notice, there's some pedals out there that are synth pedals.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So what does that tell you?
It's just
Guitar-
but again, I feel like guitar, if you've just got the pedals, then it's like that's when you're getting into synthy sonic experimentation and that's when you really can get lost in it, you know.
And I think it was what Electroharmonics came out. I think it was them who came out with the first synth pedal for a guitarist, and it had an arpeggiator in it and everything. I think that guitar players that don't have an open mind to that kind of thing shun it and go, oh, I don't want that. You know what I mean? Now I've taken that pedal and I've hooked it up to a synthesizer. You know what I mean? So I just, synthesizers is just so versatile to me. I mean, you know, the piano is my favorite instrument. I play piano all the time. I love playing piano. And I love taking piano and doing weird shit to it.
That's cool.
You know, adding reverb and delay and things like that to it. My recent thing that I discovered was taking Sound Toys has a thing called the disseminator or disruptor or something like that. I forget the name of it. And dude, talk about distortion. I just took up the piano sound that I was using and I ran it through that and it was just nasty.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah, like just having fun with shit.
I gotta get you.
I mean?
I gotta get you that microcosm pedal so you can play around with that for a bit.
I want to check that out.
I think
man.
you'd like that, man. And man, running a piano through that, if you got a little mic, put the mic in the piano.
I don't have a real piano, unfortunately,
but well, that's even better then.
I'm using added addictive pianos.
Yeah,
My XLM, I think is the name.
So you
of the
can just
company.
run the that through the microcosm, right?
Yeah, I could take a line out.
I'll tell you a preset.
I could take a line out.
I'll tell you a preset right now. Wave State Icelandic piano. Have you tried that?
No.
Dude, go on the Wave State when we get off this podcast. Hook it up to your Rev 2 or one of your keyboards, the Hydra, whatever. Put on Icelandic piano, and dude, play that for a little bit.
Really?
Oh man, it's something special, that preset.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's clue this up now because I got to get going here. And everyone in the chat, sorry about the little power surge. We don't know what happened there. Rumors are that the Synth Mafia are watching. They're always watching. So they cut that stream right at the right time to make us change the topic.
But we're protected by the synth gods. Remember that.
We're protected by the synth gods, baby. The synth renegades all day, all night. So
we got to get T-shirts.
We got to get some T-shirts done. I got to get moving, man. I got to get more. Got to get
Synth
working
Renegade.
on some more stuff. I got to get the Synth Renegade T-shirts. We got to get a pair of sunglasses in everybody's hands in the chat. You know, so you can throw these babies on. So you never these shades is so you always see the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right.
See the Behringer way.
That's right. Behringer, baby. Oath to Behringer. You guys can go back and write that down if you want. Maybe I'll throw it in the comments. We'll see. That's just a little bit of fun. So yeah, me and you will hook up for a second after post show. And thanks everyone else for joining us here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, good show. Even with the damn owls.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna shut this down. You stick around.
All right.
Sloop, sloop.
Everybody have fun. Peace. Thank